What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to the brother Zach Hankins for the $10 donation via the Cash App. He says, for happy birthday to realest man on YouTube. Stay cooking. I mean, I still showing love my birthday, man. Salute to you, man, for showing love. I had just seen this, man. I hadn't even looked at my Cash App. But I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, man, I show major love for me on my birthday on Sunday, man. I'm still showing love. So I salute to you guys, man. I truly appreciate you guys for supporting my channel. And this channel will be nowhere without you guys. So this is a requested video for one of my Patreon subscribers. I recently did a video. I think I was talking about Isiah Thomas, I think it was. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. Oh, yeah. I was talking about Isiah Thomas and, there's always been this thing where they say that he beat all of the great players, all his contemporaries in their prime, Magic, Larry, and Mike, and I pushed back against that. But I think in that video, I said that I have Isiah Thomas as the greatest little man of all time over Allen Iverson. And he wanted me to explain why I have Iverson or Isiah ahead of Iverson. Now, I got to admit, I flip-flopped on that a little bit in the past. At one point, I had put Iverson ahead of Isiah Thomas. But as I thought more about it over time, like a couple years ago, I said, nah, I can't do that. Even though Iverson, is culturally, in my opinion, the second most significant player in NBA history behind Michael Jordan. And even though Isiah Thomas gets on my goddamn nerves with his constant Jordan bashing, I just can't in good faith say that. And these are the reasons why I have Iverson below Isiah when it comes to overall ranking and as the greatest little man. I understand Iverson has the MVP. And I understand Iverson is one of the great scorers in the history of the NBA, regular season and playoffs. And we all remember the great individual performances, right? But the fact of the matter is, Isiah Thomas has 2 NBA championships. 2. He has a finals MVP. And he won those 2 NBA championships on a team or with a team that I have to admit the NBA wasn't fond of. It wasn't part of the plan for the Pistons to win those back-to-back titles. I got to be honest with that. They were not beloved by the NBA hierarchy, the Detroit Pistons. They didn't like the brand of basketball they played. And definitely after those remarks by Dennis Rodman about Larry Bird, they were losing favor with Isiah Thomas. I'll give you an example I'm talking about here. Did you know that after the 86-87 season, which is when Dennis Rodman made those remarks and Isiah Thomas concurred with them until he was forced to apologize for something that Dennis said? Did you know that after that, for the rest of his career, Isiah Thomas was never again top 10 in MVP voting? Now, I get it if it was from 1990 onward or something, but you're trying to tell me in 87, 88, 88, 89, 89, 90, Isiah wasn't still a top 10 player in the league? Some ain't stirring the Kool-Aid, man. You know? But on top of the NBA championships, I think that Isiah Thomas was just a more versatile and complete player than Allen Iverson. I think that if he needed to, the situation needed him to do it, Isiah Thomas could go out there and score with the best of them. I saw him drop 16 points in 90 seconds against, I think it was the, I think it was the New York Knicks. I saw him do that in the playoffs, right? I've seen him drop 25 and a quarter against the Showtime Lakers on a goddamn ankle that's big around as a small pumpkin. Okay? I've seen the performances where he drops 40 in 3.5 quarters on just 20 or 25 shots. No three-pointers. I've seen him one-on-one do some amazing things offensively. The thing about Isiah Thomas is that he could score one-on-one like a Kyrie Irving. He was probably the best ball handler of his era. But yet, he could pass just as well as Stockton and Magic, if need be. He could facilitate just as well as a Jason Kidd or a Chris Paul. He's one of the greatest floor generals and clock managers I've ever seen. He was a complete point guard who could play like a Stockton, is what I'm trying to get there. He could play like John Stockton and out Stockton. He could out Magic. But unlike John Stockton, Isiah Thomas could destroy you one-on-one offensively. He could go on scoring bursts. And that's why I say he's one of the most complete players I've ever seen. So, when I take that into account, not saying that Allen Iverson, didn't average 6 or 7 assists in his career. He could do that, but play the point at the level that Isiah Thomas did? No, he couldn't do that. Also, I can't say that Allen Iverson, and I know it's going to be controversial. A lot of Allen Iverson fans not going to like me saying this, but I can't say that Iverson could raise the level of play of everybody around him in the point guard role the way that Isiah Thomas could. So that's pretty much what it is, man. Now, when it comes to other intangibles, leadership, they're both really high on that one. So I got a lot of respect for Allen Iverson. I don't particularly care for Isiah Thomas, but I have to recognize what he accomplished. You know what I'm saying? Defensively, when he was younger, and when I say he, I'm talking about Isiah Thomas, he was a decent defender, but as he got older, he got worse to the point where at times he was a bad defender, especially from 91 or so on. I think he was a bad defender. But, Allen Iverson was never a great one-on-one defender either, although he did lead league in steals 3 times. I think Isiah Thomas led the league in steals once or twice, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember I can't remember all the numbers, but yeah, man, I just think that Isaiah Thomas is the greatest little man I've ever seen. It's I always remember hearing people say that if Isaiah Thomas was just 6 inches taller, he'd have been the greatest player of all time. I've heard that constantly. So that's pretty much it, man. I know people gonna say, well, Isaiah had the better teammates. Yeah, I mean, yes, and then no. Like, yeah, he did have the better teammates. He had a lot more talent around him, but he also didn't have a lot of top 50 or top 75 players around him either. You know what I'm saying? And Adrian Dantley never won a championship with the Detroit Pistons. That was Mark Aguirre, who, if I'm not mistaken, before he joined Detroit, wasn't doing shit in Dallas. But being the Lakers bitch a couple times in the playoffs, I know one year he averaged 28 points, but Dallas wasn't really doing that much. Just see what I'm saying? The Lakers owned the West. And when he left Detroit after the trade, we didn't hear from Adrian Dantley no more. So yeah, that's just how I look at it, man. But tell me what you guys think.